Yeah, wake up call, people awake, right? Yeah, Vishal, you can just start with the e-commerce story. I'll follow you on the manufacturing.
Yeah, so I think just to give a background on what we are planning for today. So when Sanchari and I came together, we come from very different industries. So I come from a e-commerce/retail industry, and then Sanchari is doing a lot of work on the manufacturing side. And we realize that there is, while there are differences, there are also commonalities, and that's what we kind of want to cover today during our session. Just to give a perspective of how e-commerce in general works, and then what is at a very high level the workflow. So obviously, if we think about it, there is a product listing part of it. Products are listed. There is a browsing where we do the searches. We try to identify the right products on an e-commerce portal. Then there is an order confirmation and fulfillment, where when my order will be delivered, and all of that comes under the next stage, wherein whether my order will be delivered, by what time it will be delivered, if I'm not happy with my order, whether I get a refund or not. So that's a very high-level journey. There are nuances in each one of them, but what I want to do over the next few slides is talk about, like, in each of these journeys, how we are able to kind of plug conversational AI, not just in the work that I'm doing right now, but some of the work that we've seen in general at an industry level as well. So obviously search is something that has been changing a lot with LLMs coming in. Historically, if you think about it, a lot of the search was keyword-based search. Right now, the search has become so much more advanced in terms of using what the customers are wanted and understanding their context. So that is where some of the search part of it is coming, and then that you can be embedded in the conversations as well. There is an assisted shopping, the product comparison and payment assistance. So all of this, if you think about it, can actually be done in a one single workflow itself. So one of the eras that we are actually trying to move towards from an e-commerce standpoint is how do we kind of combine some of the experiences that we have offline over to the online as well. If you think from an offline perspective, the idea is you can actually go on to a person and say, I need this, I need that, can you help me, right? Historically, a lot of us product search on e-commerce has been, I'll search for a laptop, then I go through the filters and do that. But can I actually have those conversations while I'm on an e-commerce and say, this is what I need, can you help me make a decision for it? So if we have all of these things available, even what I want, what is my need, and how I can compare, and then going even to the payment part of it, that is where. So here are a few examples. Some of you might be aware about it. This is a very famous example from a Rufus, where someone wants to kind of understand that they're looking for toys for a dinosaur, and they get some recommendations around it. This is one of the use cases where it's just a prototype. It's not an actual working, but then there's someone who actually wants to look for a laptop for their kids. If you think about it, if you look at the conversations, I don't know how much it is readable or not. You can actually look at the fact that the person is saying that the chatbot is actually telling you that based on your requirement, this is what is best for you. And to a point wherein you can actually do a comparison. Let's assume it's an Acer laptop, it's a Mac laptop, and say, this is my requirements, and then nail it down. Versus if in a prior e-commerce experience, all of that has to be done by us, right? So as a user, you will be doing it. If you go to the next part of it, again, a lot of it is happening a lot. Where is my orders? I know right now, if you think about it, it is very, in most of these websites, it is like, okay, there is a delivery status, all of that will be there, but it is very transactional, right? But if a lot of these chat conversations, whether I want to make a return, whether I want to do a refund, some companies have been able to do it, and some companies are doing it in a very rule-based fashion, which is where a lot of it will move into a conversations where some of the work that we used to kind of either do through an IVR, or some of the work that we want to kind of do over rule-based can actually go into conversations. Here are a few examples of how Bestbuy is doing, or here is an example of how Shopify is also doing, to look at it. Although with all of these promises, some of the challenges that we still see is coming in, that data continues to be a huge challenge. And the second is obviously a lot of these systems, especially if you think from an order perspective, there are so many systems, fulfillment, e-commerce and all. Bringing all of these systems to that single chatbot is a huge challenge for us to kind of make it usable. Hand it over to Sanchari take it from there.
Yeah, okay. So manufacturing nowadays is becoming smart, by the way, because I am from 𝗠𝗔𝗫 Birla. People might think that conglomerates are still old, but no. We have started doing a lot of smart manufacturing initiatives, but one of the branch there is the conversational AI. We were doing a bit of floor assistance, which is not exactly, assisting on security or face recognitions, which are pretty old, which were done during COVID. But majorly now what we are doing that for a fire-prone zone, like areas which are fire-prone, we have visual analytics set up, and then there are sessions where, there are speakers where somebody going to that fire-prone zone is asked not to go. Or if there is a minimum flick of a fire, there is a speaker which is hooting around the factory saying that in the fire-prone zone, it was sensed that there is this amount of temperature raise causing a flick of fire, which actually this year we have 0 cases of fire-based any accidents or any safety hazards. So that is conversational AI on the floor. We did a lot of work around R&D chatbot. Happy to also discuss after this session. We did vendor and maintenance, which is around the supply chain assistance. We also did something which is on top of our data analytic or data layer, which is the major data set. We have enabled a genie, which is something we have started avoiding dashboards specifically. Somebody coming and asking any questions, we have started putting those intelligence that at least we don't have a fixed model of a Power BI where somebody will only ask you to give this bar charts and everything. You can ask whatever question. For example, what is the last month's yield? We are actually very privy of our yield numbers. So anyone who has the access can go and see the yield numbers. I have also highlighted the outcome. I'll definitely not go through all of them, but yeah, it do accelerate, and we are seeing some good amount of number-led impact, tangible impact specifically on those. Yeah, so definitely we do have a lot of agentic AI and AI challenges as of now. I think from morning people has discussed. One funnier incident I just wanted to highlight quickly, which is the hallucination happened. For one of our floor assistants, one day somebody wore a safety jacket, orange color, and somebody went to a prone zone. And it was Chennai, pretty hot at that time. So there was a fire alarm happened saying that there is a flick of a fire on that zone. When we went there, we found that somebody wearing an orange colored jacket with a higher temperature. That is the data hallucination happened. So now we have removed the safety jackets from neon orange to all neon green and yellow as an immediate effect. But yeah, we were also kind of doing a bit of deep dive on how we can avoid more hallucinations and misinterpretations. We will quickly, I think, this is majorly what we are looking in manufacturing sector in conversational AI as a property. One is explainability, responsible AI, and governance. Governance majorly because somebody talking on top of our layer, which has all the supply chain data, yield data, where governance has to be there in terms of accessibility, respective security for individual person. As well as, yes, the continuous retaining and continuous having the data. For example, for Blue Yonder users, data retention is very important. Until unless you don't do that, you don't have that supply chain overall infographics in place. Converging together, yeah, Vishal spoke about the retail innovation. I did give you just a blink of what manufacturing industry is doing on conversational AI, just on conversational AI, not exactly the AI world, because we are doing a lot. But yes, when we actually discussed, we found a lot is happening around us, which is pretty common, actually. Yeah. For example, the retail innovation, smart manufacturing, they are pretty data-driven, and yes, it is difficult to retain data in manufacturing because the equipments are still age-old. changing the regular strategic equipments are difficult. But still, we started seeing data retention through some of the IoT sensors. I think Vishal spoke about his way of, going through the conversational AI platforms, which he spoke about Bestbuy. Yeah, Vishal, would you like to, discuss about the other?
Yeah, so I think, again, this is something which is pretty common. If you think from a manufacturing perspective, there are, what Sanchari has mentioned, there are multiple systems which needs to be kind of brought together to enable it. And similarly, on the e-commerce side of it, especially on post-order, there are multiple systems which have to kind of brought together. So those are the challenges that both of these industries are kind of grappling with and looking, which will be important for us to kind of fix as we move forward to make these experiences
Yeah, and
much
I think
easier.
it is not exactly we are doing it daily, we are doing it over minutes.
Yeah.
Because as I speak, I know the entire team is working somewhere, on enabling another conversational AI on top of, some of our regular reports. And it is not like we are looking forward to that in next financial year or in next calendar year, we will launch something. We are now looking on monthly basis.
Yeah.
That is the time reduction we were able to do, I think, with the advent of this. Happy to discuss. We are available LinkedIn. This is the number. And thank you so much for listening.
Thank you.